Hello pet parents and welcome to another episode of Natural Pets TV. I'm joined by Dr. Ken Tudor, Dr. Liz Bales, and Dr. Patrick Mahaney. I talk about pet first aid quite often, but there is a lot that people should know and shouldn't do. Dr. Patrick, how do you advise people when it comes to things like cat first aid?
It's a really good question. It's very important that pet owners should realize that not every issue that the cat has is not something that should be addressed at home. There are a lot of things that really require the expertise and the experience of a veterinarian to give a diagnosis and decide what's the most appropriate treatment, or give a referral if needed. But there are things that cat owners can certainly do at home, but it's really important to really think like, what are the things that I should be bringing my cat to the vet for, and what are the things that I could be potentially helping to facilitate care at home. And certainly I think anytime that there's trauma, anytime that a pet has a seizure, if a cat is rolling around and straining to urinate because they have some kind of urinary obstruction, vomiting that doesn't subside after minutes to hours, diarrhea that's explosive and liquidy, any decreased appetite that goes on for more than 12 hours or so, I would suggest that at least some kind of conversation happens with the veterinarian, and then it can be decided if the cat should come in or if the situation can be managed at home. And sometimes actually clients who have very close relationships with veterinarians and good open streams of communication, if the veterinarian knows the cat very well, then that could increase the likelihood that maybe there is something at home that the owner could do for the cat. But a lot of times owners could make the situation worse. So it's really important to consult with the veterinarian and find out what should be done.
You know, you bring up two issues that I think a lot of cat owners may not appreciate that seem not like a big deal, but in cat world it is a big deal. Straining in the litter box and crying can be a really big deal. It could be a sign of a urinary obstruction, and it's really hard to know in that case when it isn't and when it is a life-threatening emergency. So I advise you, if you see your cat straining in the litter box and crying, I'd go ahead and make that emergency visit. In addition, cats are really subtle. We've talked about this before. They're just very subtle, and particularly their breathing is very subtle. When you look at your happy, healthy cat today in your living room, you may barely notice their body wall moving at all when they breathe. If you appreciate that your cat is working to breathe and you really see that body wall moving, or if they're actually opening their mouth to breathe, that's also a life-threatening emergency, and I would want to get your cat to the vet right away.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing about cats is what you point out, Liz, is that they mask their illnesses.
They really do.
And they really don't present with emergencies most of the time. The emergencies that I see from my clients are a long-standing problem that the cat has, and they couldn't identify that the symptoms were worthy of consideration. And so I look at first aid, I look at teaching the cat owner to make observations on a routine basis so that first aid isn't the first thing they think about. They start seeing subtle things like an increase in water consumption, increase in elimination.
Hiding all the time.
Hiding all the time. That should suggest that, okay, let's not wait until we got a crisis, because that's happened to me. I had some people just recently rush in saying their cat was bleeding. And I looked at the cat and it's got a ruptured cancer in its abdomen. The animal weighs nothing. It's so gaunt and was laying in the yard overnight in the rain. This wasn't an emergency. This could have been seen long ago. So, so I think first aid is training the owner to be more preemptive.
And in the event that there is a trauma, you never know when that's going to happen. Life's full of surprises. So I think identifying, does your vet have emergency hours or don't they? And if they don't have emergency hours, where's the most convenient place for you that you trust, and have that phone number and the directions ready, and a carrier ready to go that your cat's comfortable spending time in the unlikely event you have a serious trauma or emergency, that you're prepared and can get your cat where it needs to go.
If a cat owner even has the foresight, I would even ask the veterinarian what would be the emergency practice they would suggest going to. A lot of times if they call a general practice vet and they're closed, it will say, you should call this number to get emergency consultation. But sometimes like knowing where the place that your vet feels most comfortable having your cat go, because maybe your vet knows emergency practitioners there, maybe there are specialty services there that could help your cat if needed. So really having that personal connection, I think, helps to facilitate the comfort. Like if you any pet owner who knows that their vet wants them to go to this practice would probably feel more comfortable calling for help.
Agreed.
And I'd like to just give one tip to the cat owner, and that is the bleeding cat. You know, stick a finger in it and get in the car and go to the vet.
Right.
Yeah, bleeding is definitely worthy of an emergency
Right.
visit.
So much to know. Be aware, be vigilant, and work with an expert. Thanks for joining us here on Natural Pets TV. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us here on Natural Pets TV, the Cat Edition. If you want to keep the conversation going, we'd love to hear from you. You can do that in the comment section down below. And remember, you can always reach out to us at petworldinsider.com. To find out more information about our guests, you can find that about Dr. Ken Tudor at thewelldogplace.com, Dr. Liz Bales at nobowlcat.com, and Dr. Patrick Mahaney at patrickmahaney.com. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being a part of the process here at Natural Pets TV.